There's the straight path to liberation is bhakti, devotion, love. And the straight path to liberation is self-inquiry, the path of knowledge, the path of turning within. There are two straight paths. Which one is for you? Well, the one that you are drawn to is the straight path for you. If you're drawn to self-inquiry, then self-inquiry is the direct path for you. If you're drawn to bhakti, devotion, and you try, and then you read in a book, and it says on page 1, self-inquiry is the direct path, it's the only path, which is true, by the way. Self-inquiry is the only direct path. It's the only true path. We all have to go through self-inquiry to get to realization. If you open that and it says that on page 1, and you try and do that, but your path is bhakti, it won't work for you. So you have to do bhakti. Bhakti, you have to give love, devotion to God or Guru or whatever name, whichever nama rupa, whichever name and form you feel of as being truly divine. And it can be more than one name and form. You know, I've shared here before, you know, I will worship my children as the divine. I'll worship my wife as the divine. She loves that. But I'll worship my wife as the divine. I'll worship Ramana as the divine. I'll worship the sky, the trees as the divine. As long as it's genuine, divine feeling, you can worship a pebble, a stone, a leaf, a person. It doesn't matter. And that is the direct path. On paper, it's the indirect path because you're going through objects. And the direct path is to turn within. But in practical terms, it's the direct path. Why? Because it's the direct path for you. It's the path that you need to take. If you take somebody else's path, it won't work for you. You have to follow your own path. You have to. You have no choice. So you might like to do one thing, or you might read in a book you've got to do self-inquiry, but then when you sit down, you're doing your bhakti. That means the bhakti is right for you. It all leads home. If you read on the book that self-inquiry is the only way, and that mantras and chanting are a lower type practice, and you try to do self-inquiry, but actually you're drawn to the mantras, you see, you should do the mantras. The mantras are beautiful, they're wonderful. They'll calm the mind, they'll purify the mind. That's what you need. That's why you're being drawn to it. All the teachings that you're drawn to have something for you. That's why you're drawn to them. That's why you are attracting them to you. So bhakti is the straight path. And we will see when you pursue bhakti to the end, it becomes the same as self-inquiry. Very few people can do self-inquiry straight away. Most need to find a method to calm the mind, make it subtle first. And you'll know if this is you because you won't feel like doing self-inquiry. You'll feel like doing something else. As soon as you're able to, though, the advice generally is to go to self-inquiry. But you might need to do like several weeks or months of bhakti type practice first. Or you might need to do several minutes of bhakti type practice first, depending on your vasanas. But the supreme bhakti is the same as self-inquiry. It's abiding as the self. The self is the guru. So when you have love for guru, you are also having love for self. God is also the self. They're one and the same. So when we have true love for God, even if we consider God to be a name and a form, our attention gets placed onto that name and form which represents the divine. And there's a feeling connection there. There's a love connection there. And eventually that love connection attracts to us everything we need. Through love for Guru, love for God, everything's attracted to us that we need. And eventually you'll be guided to turn within when it is right for you. And that's the self-inquiry, when you turn within and abide as the self, as the subject. And that is also Parabhakti. Parabhakti means the supreme bhakti, the supreme love. Supreme love, supreme bhakti is to abide as the self, which is to abide, which is to be with God. To abide as the self is to be with God, to be with him, one with him, to be in his presence, to sit with him, to bathe in his presence, to bathe in his loving presence, and then to merge into him. So your feelings will guide you. Your feelings will guide you on this, your intuition. So we should not fight our urges. If we have an urge for bhakti, we should not fight the urge for bhakti. We should not fight the urge to chant and sing his name. Bhagavan Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, those who love me, they talk about me. They chant about me, they sing about me, they praise my ways. They enlighten each other by telling stories about me. This is what Krishna says about his devotees. He says they enlighten each other by telling stories, telling each other stories about me. They sing my praises. This is a beautiful way. It's a natural way. This whole spiritual path should be a natural, beautiful thing. It's beautiful from the beginning. It's beautiful in the beginning, middle, and end. The entire path is tainted, if I may say. It's tainted with the divine spark, straight from the outset. It's infused with the divine right from the beginning. So this is the bhakti. Bhakti is always there. It means you love the teaching. It means you love the true teacher, the true guru. It means you love God. It means you give thanks to him. It means you appreciate him. It means you surrender to him. It means you give all you have to him. Daily. Daily giving all you have to him, thanking him. It's almost a necessity on the path, bhakti. Faith, love, devotion. So we talk of self-inquiry and bhakti as being separate, but how can they be separate? Only maybe superficially they might appear separate. Maybe at some points they might, in time they might appear separate. But then how can they be separate? How can you have one without the other? Really? This is a natural, beautiful path, a spontaneous path. It arises in your heart, and it will not leave you alone until you follow it, and it takes you where you want to be, where you yearn to be. It will not leave you alone. So you have to follow this.